I'm gonna go through my bridling critique, which I don't think is too bad. I'm just gonna get a decent amount of lead rope and have it kind of in the crook of my arm there, and then go ahead and slip his halter off and go ahead and reattach it under his neck so that you can kind of just maintain control of the horse at all times. Totally not bad at all, depending on your situation too. Now I like to do more stuff just with at Liberty. I know that's hard at a boarding barn. That's where I was here. So this kind of makes more sense for those situations. But I'm just kind of explaining how I'm going to hold the bridle here. I'm just going to bring the noseband up so that I have it out of the way and I can be free to just go ahead and put that bit in his mouth here. And he looks pretty relaxed here. Not too bad. Nobody's doing anything to him. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to have my right hand up over his pole here, and then I'm going to slide the bridle up with my right hand and then kind of guide the bit with my left hand. So I think I'm just lowering his head right here. I'm just applying a little bit of pressure on his pole, and then as soon as he goes down, the pressure goes away. I'm sure that was probably a little bit more pressure than he needed. Probably could just do a little bit, not quite that much. And his head's really at a good level right now anyway. Like it probably didn't need to be moved at all, but at the time, I guess I thought it did. So now I'm gonna kind of move his face into position. He's maneuverable. Like if I put my hand on the side of his face, he'll move it over. Um, I mean, I still kind of like that, but I'm not gonna like force the horse to do that either. So I'm just gonna get his head in position here, and then I can go ahead and grab that bridle with the top of the bridle with my left hand over his pole, and then I'm gonna use that, or my right hand, and then I use my left hand to guide the bit into his mouth. And this is really this first part right there is where you have that bridle up in front of their face, and then you can take it away. So again, using negative reinforcement, I'm gonna have that bridle up in front of his face, and then I'm gonna take it away if he's standing in the remaining column, which Winslow is right here. And then the next step would be having the bit like touch his teeth, or not his teeth, his lips. So at this point, he got a little worried. If I'm using negative reinforcement, you kind of have to stick with him. Again, release of pressure would be the reinforcer. So I had to wait until he stopped moving, and then I released it, take it off. Then this time I can put the bit on his lips and he stands still. So I take it off. So this is a decent application of negative reinforcement. I'm not applying a ton of pressure. It's just a little bit, and the bridling process is happening in steps, which is still good at this point. So really this lesson, and I think like the moving to hand pressure lessons so far, have been pretty decent. And if I was still using a lot of negative reinforcement, I wouldn't mess with it too much. It's pretty good. And then next I want to start opening the side of his lips here, the side of his mouth. So you can see that I have my thumb in the corner of his mouth, and I'm just going to wait there until he opens his mouth. So he's a little hesitant to do that here. There, the mouth opens, and then I'm just going to take my thumb out and the bridle away and give him a release. So a lot of people at this point want to put the bit in right away. Don't do that. Just take the bridle away because you want to reinforce that behavior by taking away the pressure. If you just shove more pressure in, the horse is really not going to want to open their mouth. I do find this easier to do with food. If you'll, I gotta edit some videos, but you'll watch Rhett's videos, it'll be in there. And he was really excited about taking the bit, and he would just open his mouth and really want to put it in there. So there is a different way to do it if you don't want to use a bunch of pressure. So like here, he really doesn't want to open his mouth, and I really have to move that thumb around, and then I slide the bit in. So really, I could have stayed there for a while and worked on just getting Winslow to open his mouth when I ask, and getting him really soft to that. Um, I think at this time I was like, oh, he's soft enough. I can just put it on, and he was fine. Like I can put it on, and he seems totally fine. But I definitely could have worked on that part. And then I'm just gonna go over like putting on. And he seems really good with this bit. This is just a curved French link D-ring, nothing crazy. I don't really like anything like super intense, like nothing twisted or nothing like that. And he's really good about this. If you're going to use a bit, I would really like a horse to look like this when you're putting it on and when he's wearing it, so he's not showing like any discomfort. He's holding the bit nicely. He's not opening his mouth and trying to get away from it or anything like that. So that looks really good. And then I'm just talking about how I keep that noseband loose. You can see it moving around there, and keep a few fingers because I'm not going to tie his mouth shut. And really, if you're going to use a noseband correctly, you want it to where he can open that mouth, and when the mouth opens, he feels the pressure of the noseband and he closes it. But really, the problem would be the bit. You want to make sure they're comfortable with the bit in their mouth. But overall, not too bad of a critique, not too bad of a process.